Christian, that's very overdue. Whew. Hi. Hi. What? Do you guys ever get like spam texts? Spam texts? I've been getting a lot of weird ones lately, and I don't know, like, did I give my number to something on the internet? Oh, no. I just tried to FaceTime this person that spam texted me. Oh, God. Oh, no. Block this caller. Oh, my God. I just had a heart attack. Julius, did we ever play this game Think Fast last year? Yeah, I accidentally knocked it down yesterday when I was battling with a wasp, and you have to get like up on the ledge to put it back, and I'm not wearing an outfit where I can do that today. So a couple of other people have tried, but not gotten on the ledge. So I'll fix it tomorrow, probably.
Are we playing Think Fast?
No, I mean we can once we get done with stuff if you want to, but my plan for my last period class got royally messed up, and it was almost just like a waste of a class period. And then they were like, "Hey, can we play Connect Four? Can we play Monopoly?" And I was like, "Have you ever played Think Fast?" And it was a lot of fun. David and Aria, quite good, quite good. Where is everyone? You're present. You're present. Kinsey will be present. Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? Did you guys see that we're having an e-learning day next Thursday?
Yep, it's like
If it's what?
real or not.
It is real. There's a typo in this email. Yeah, it's real because other people are getting their second vaccine that day. But then it's so weird because next Thursday will be e-learning and then Friday will be early release. All right, let's let these ladies in. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Had a fun day. Kinsey's here, Kayla's here, Madison is not. But maybe she will be. Who's to say? Okay. We're gonna get going. Get going on this stuff today. Okay. Trying to share my screen. It's a slow process, but it's happening. I just used some sugared lemon hand sanitizer, but it smells so much like cotton candy. I'm not mad about it. It's pretty good. I don't know what that guy's doing. Okay, today we're going to go through topic sentences, body paragraphs, and conclusions. And hopefully it won't take a million years and I'll be able to let you guys go. Ooh, I love this background.
Oh, wow.
It's really nice.
Two pick?
Doesn't it look like it says to
Why
pick?
does it say that?
I don't know. I'm about to cut my camera off and back on because I'm frozen. Here comes Madison. And I'll let me fix Madison's attendance before we continue. Where did it go? To pick sentences. Other than the fact that it says to pick instead of topic, I think this is a very nice background. It's pretty. I'd have that in a wallpaper. All right, topic sentences. A topic sentence should clearly express the central focus and point in a body paragraph. I think I said this before, that I sort of feel like topic sentences are a thing that we learn in our younger years just as an organizational tool. I don't feel like we need to be as hot and heavy about topic sentences once we like really know what we're doing with writing. But this is all good information. And if you choose to do a topic sentence, then that's great. I just feel like sometimes they don't allow for a smooth transition, if that makes sense. But let's just do this anyway. You can think of topic sentences as mini thesis statements. Like a thesis, they have to be specific and present an argument, not just a statement of fact or description. It basically tells you what the paragraph is about and what you're going to say about it. For example, and those of us who were in AP, you might remember the story Hills Like White Elephants by Ernest Hemingway, where they're like, it's the guy and the girl at the train station having a lot of beers, and they're like talking about something, but you don't know what it's very vague. They're actually talking about her having an abortion, but they never say that. So if a writer wanted to discuss Hemingway's use of setting in that story, they could discuss the train station at which the story is set, the hills that they can see on one side of the station, and the fertile area visible from the other side of the station. The first body paragraph would most likely focus on the train station. The second would be about the hills. The third one would be about the fertile area. So this next slide we're going to look at provides some examples of topic sentences that would and would not work for that. So a poor topic sentence would be Hemingway uses description in the story, because of course he does. But like, what's the point of that? What specific descriptions does this paragraph analyze? That's just too vague to be a good topic sentence. Another one would be the story opens at a train station. Like it does, but why does that matter? That sounds more like summary to me than anything, and that would be more at home in the intro. A better topic sentence would be Hemingway uses the setting of the train station as a symbol of the couple's situation. That is better because it specifies a topic and the argument. It does need to specify what the station symbolizes in the couple's situation, though, in order to be fully complete. So a good one would be Hemingway uses the setting of the train station as a symbolic crossroads that reflects both the couple's empty traveling life and their dilemma over the girl's pregnancy. It's a solid one. Does everything it needs to do. This is just more examples, so we're not going to do it. We're not going to go through that. Summary points to remember about topic sentences. It has to specify the topic of the paragraph, the body paragraph. It has to specify the argument, and it must convey your entire focus in the body paragraph, not just part of the focus. So for instance, if you're writing about Willie Loman's reactions to both Biff and Happy before Biff's football game in Death of a Salesman, the topic sentence can't just talk about Biff. It has to have an argument about both Biff and Happy. All right, let's move on. I think it's going to be a quick one today. Body paragraphs, another really lovely background. I like whoever's doing these. So I like the aesthetic. Hey, what's up? Does it? I'm so cold. I've had this. Yeah, well, to be fair, this is the first time I've taken my jacket off all day, but I do still have this blanket around me. I'm very cold. Okay, so the body paragraphs are the most essential paragraphs in the essay because you use them to explain and provide support for all of your central ideas. You're using them to show that your thesis makes sense and explain why it makes sense. So in a thorough analytical essay, you need a minimum of 2 body paragraphs in addition to the intro and the conclusion. If you've only got 1 body paragraph, you really don't have a complete essay. Most will need more than just 2 body paragraphs in order to thoroughly examine a literary work, which is what that's what this essay is. In your body paragraphs, you should maintain the structure that readers expect from this type of essay. In newspaper articles, for instance, readers expect very short, clipped paragraphs that concentrate on presenting facts. In formal analytical essays, however, readers expect longer, more thorough paragraphs that argue particular points. That is true. You will need facts to support your points, of course, but you also need to offer your own opinions and interpretations, and then the reader can evaluate your interpretation based on the evidence and the explanations that you provide. So generally, the body paragraph should follow this pattern. I really like the layout of this too. The organization is really nice. You should specify your argument in the paragraph with a precise topic sentence. Then you should provide some summary or background information to help demonstrate your topic sentence point. Next, you should provide examples that support your point by quoting from the work that you're analyzing. Then explain what these quotations show, and then explain the overall significance of your focus in the paragraph, which means connecting the paragraph focus to your thesis. You're also going to maintain a focus on only one central idea in the paragraph. So for example, if the paragraph focuses on Willie's impact on Biff's youthful arrogance, you won't discuss Willie's impact on Linda, because that would be a shift in focus and would be kind of confusing. Have a different paragraph to talk about Linda. Some other body paragraph do nots to keep in mind. Do not forget to include a topic sentence. Do not just state a fact in the topic sentence, which we just talked about in the previous presentation. Do not use the topic sentence as an introduction to a quotation, but do not forget to quote in the paragraph. Do not assume that paraphrases work as well as quotations. They often don't. Do not neglect to introduce your quotations. Do not neglect to analyze your quotations after they've quoted them. I'd say that's a big one, just because sometimes people do sort of plunk a quote down in there and expect the reader to connect the dots on like why you're using that quote. And you should connect those dots for the reader. Do not end the paragraph on a quotation, especially a block quotation, which is one of those longer quotes, longer than 4 lines, that's set apart. Do not end the paragraph by shifting focus to the next body paragraph, just because that's ineffective. And don't forget to use appropriate transitions between your ideas in order to show the relationships between them. The following paragraphs show how to develop a body paragraph. Each of the paragraph grows progressively more thorough and effective. Of course, writing paragraphs is really this clean and methodical, true, but the process below should prove helpful in clarifying the elements that a body paragraph should contain. And I want to kind of be clear about that, because I feel like with these presentations, it's easy to sort of see them as like, this is precisely what to do in your intro. Follow these 5 steps to do a body paragraph. And that is really like formulaic and methodical. And when you sit down to write, it often doesn't feel like that. A lot of this is actually, a lot of this is going to be sort of second nature to you guys because you've been writing for so long. It's just kind of some helpful hints, particularly if you're stuck. So these paragraphs we're going to look at, the first one, kind of think of it as something that would score a D. Like it has a pretty clear topic sentence, good central points, and nice phrasing, but there's no quotes for support. It's pretty choppy in style because it doesn't have transitions, and then they'll get better as they go, winding up at an A+ level paragraph. Okay, so you can kind of see from this how it's building. So this first one, you've just got like topic sentence and central points, but nothing else. Willie's unwilling to accept responsibility for the impact his own actions have had on Biff. The discovery of Willie's affair in Boston clearly devastated Biff. Willie becomes defensive when he must confront the truth of that. He's not honest with himself and continues to maintain his fantasy world in which he is not to blame for his family's miseries. But we can add some more evidence and quotations and make that better. I think we can probably all see that first one is really pretty short anyway. It's not saying a whole lot. Let's add some evidence and quotes to support those arguments. So after the first couple sentences in here, this person is adding evidence from the play, what happens, and then a quote. We had a fist fight. It lasted at least half an hour. Willie becomes defensive when he must confront the truth of this. What are you trying to do? Blame it on me? If a boy lays down, is that my fault? So he's adding in this evidence from the text to support what he's saying. You want to make sure that you introduce your quotations, which what we added here is he tells Willie that he found Biff burning his tennis shoes with the University of Virginia written on them. And then we had a fist fight. And then it just highlighted, he declares to introduce that quote. Sometimes we do just like plunk a quote down in the middle and not really introduce it, but you want to make sure to have that like signal phrase. And then an analysis of why you're using it. Why are you using that quote? Willie learns that Biff had surrendered his dreams and his future because of what he saw in Boston. Biff was so grief-stricken that he literally burned his hopes, which the shoes represent, and fought his only friend. Bernard's answer to Willie's questions about Biff could lead Willie to accept his role in Biff's failures. He continues to reject any responsibility for his actions. Okay, so I think this is the final one. Okay, next one is final one. They're inserting transitions and improving flow. I'm not gonna like go through all of this, but if you look at the ones that are highlighted, a lot of it is like transition phrases. In this moment, in fact, but, and just kind of combining some of this to improve the flow. So our final version, and it does look kind of long, but keep in mind this is a body paragraph. It's fine if it's kind of long, as long as it's still focusing on one thing. Another of Willie's character defects is his unwillingness to accept responsibility for the impact his own actions have had on Biff. For instance, good transition, the discovery of Willie's affair in Boston clearly devastated Biff, but Willie does not know the extent of this devastation until he sees Bernard in Charlie's office years later. Willie asks Bernard if it's his own fault that Biff has been a failure, and Bernard answers that he does not know. He does, however, recount his experience with Biff after Biff's return from Boston. He tells Willie that he found Biff burning his tennis shoes with the University of Virginia written on them. And then we had a fist fight. It lasted at least half an hour, just the two of us punching each other down the cellar and crying right through it. I've often thought of how strange it was that I knew he'd given up his life. Citation. In this moment, Willie learns that Biff had surrendered his dreams and his future because of what he saw in Boston. In fact, Biff was so grief-stricken that he literally burned his hopes, which the shoes represent, and fought his only friend. Bernard's answer to Willie's questions about Biff could lead Willie to accept his role in Biff's failures, but he continues to reject any responsibility for his actions. When Willie hears Bernard's story, he becomes defensive and declares, "What are you trying to do? Blame it on me? If a boy lays down, is that my fault?" Thus, instead of being honest with himself, he continues his attempt to maintain his fantasy world in which he is blameless for his family's miseries. It's a very sad play if you couldn't pick up on that. And finally, conclusion paragraphs. This is also a fun background, but I don't love this one as much. It's just a personal aesthetic choice. But it's almost like 3D. It's nice to look at. Okay, so I didn't write this, but I agree with this. I often find the concluding paragraph a difficult one to write because I have to come up with something meaningful to say that emerges directly from the argument I've just made in the essay. However, this something must not simply repeat what I've already said. And I know I've talked about that in previous classes with you guys because we get taught to restate our thesis in our conclusion. And we don't really want to do that when we're advanced, sophisticated writers like we are. We don't want to just restate it. We want to talk about what we can take away from this whole argument. What can we get out of it? Can we ask any new questions? Can we reframe any ideas from earlier? We're just kind of trying to tie the whole thing up in a bigger picture sort of way. Sometimes, maybe frequently, the conclusion is treated as a throwaway paragraph, in which students assume all they must do is repeat or rephrase the thesis and their topic sentences. This strategy might make sense in a very long essay, like 20 pages or more, but your essays are all short enough that that's going to come across as filler or fluff. Therefore, the conclusion is a paragraph in which you literally come up with exactly what you have concluded. With what exactly you have concluded. What do you now know or believe as a result of writing the essay? Thinking about this can take some time, and I found myself waiting until the entire essay is absolutely complete before I have enough distance from it to write an effective conclusion, for sure. So here's some stuff to not do in the conclusion. You don't want to just repeat your previous points without adding to them. A lot of people fall into that trap, but really try not to. It looks lazy and is a very clunky ending to an essay. Don't introduce an entirely new topic to your discussion. If your essay explores the relationship between William Biff Loman from Death of a Salesman, don't suddenly start talking about his relationship with Linda in the conclusion. It seems very off focus. It's whole new information that if you're going to talk about that would be better in a body paragraph. If writing an analysis of a literary work or essay, do not just compliment a work or writer. Like, he did a really good job on this. No. The reader already knows that you think this is worth writing about. Examples of bad examples of that. All in all, Ellison does a good job of using symbolism in his story, showing that he is a truly great writer. Or King writes such a great essay that people can read it over and over again and still find new things to enjoy. Steer clear of that. Don't end the essay on a platitude or cliche, which I think we talked about a different day, or maybe we're talking about cliches in a thesis statement. These expressions are not interesting or informative. Examples of that would be this play shows that life can be tough and you do not always get what you want. Try to say something in your own way. If you're analyzing a literary work that contains a pessimistic tone, don't invent a falsely positive close that does not fit the tone of the work. You don't need to end the essay with an attempt to make the reader feel good. If the play's a tragedy, don't try to give it a happy ending because it doesn't have one. So an example of that from Death of a Salesman: Willie may have died, but he is now at peace and his family is content with the money he left them, showing that dreams really do come true. That's a really bad thing to conclude from that play because it's really depressing and it's not meant to show you that dreams can come true. So it feels really wrong. So instead, you should work to accomplish, I can't believe how long that water fountain is going off on its own. It's insane. It's just going the bottle filler. It's just it's yeah, and has been for a couple minutes now. It's a huge waste of water, which is the opposite of the point. Also, they were here for 2 days trying to fix that thing, and now it cut off. And it doesn't always work when you're trying to use it now. It's so annoying. So here's some goals that we're trying to accomplish now that we have seen what not to do. You're trying to create an argument that makes sense and that comes together at the end. So you need to show how your central points relate to one another and explain the overall significance of your argument or analysis in the essay. Also, you want to end the essay with an assertive statement. This strategy conveys a sense of confidence in your points and helps to drive home your central ideas. So you need to make sure you understand your own argument. That's very important. And one way to kind of figure that out is to ask yourself these questions. What's the writer's apparent message or point in this literary work? Which certainly, if you're writing about the theme of a story, you have to be able to answer that. What are the effects of the writer presenting this particular situation in this particular way? And what has the reader learned, come to understand, or come to see more clearly in the process of reading this work? These questions help you address the reader's central goal in reading the essay, which is to better understand a specific literary work. You are, in effect, through this essay, teaching the reader about the work you're analyzing. And to teach it, you have to be able to understand it yourself And the best way to do that is to ask a lot of questions and work as hard as you can to answer those. And a strong concluding paragraph will be the fruits of this labor. Okay, any questions about body paragraphs, conclusions, or topic sentences? No? Okay. So that's all I have for you guys today, but I want you to keep in mind that your thesis statement is due on Monday. Tomorrow we'll go through some MLA and citation information. But I know that it's one sentence. One sentence is due on Monday, and that doesn't seem like a lot. But number one, if you don't know what story you're writing about yet, or you don't know which of the 4 topics you are going to decide on, or which one you're going to write, you can't really write a thesis statement until you know those things. So if you don't know those things, I would encourage you to spend the rest of this class period figuring it out. And if you already do know it, I would encourage you to start working on your thesis statement. And if you need any help with that, to let me know. Sound good to you guys? Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, if you virtual folks want to go, you may. I'm going to hang on at least until everyone's gone. So if you're working on your thesis or anything and need help, I'll be around. So y'all just let me know.